Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to the Business and Brews show. Super excited to have Sara here with us. Sara runs Perspective Counseling. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into what it is she does, and we're going to get into a lot of the business aspects. So join us right after this.
Welcome to the Business and Brews podcast, where our mission is to highlight local businesses in the Triangle area and shed light on different industries.
I really want to get into when he cues us back into this live section. Maybe we incorporate a fake laugh. Maybe we'll do that on the next episode. Yeah. Anyways, I listened to a podcast that does that. But ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we're back here once again, Trek CBD Studios, talking to Sara Wilder. Sara, really quick, in a nutshell, tell us who you are and what you do.
Oh, okay. Nutshells.
Yes, that's right.
My name is Sara Wilder. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and addiction specialist. So long story short, I'm a therapist and I specialize in addictive behaviors and clinical addictions, ranging from substance abuse to food, sex, gambling, anything like that.
Wow, nice. That's a very broad range right there.
Yes.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you for being here. We definitely do appreciate it because I think we can definitely be helped on some of the... Oh, never mind.
Why is
This
he
was
looking
a
at me?
podcast and not a therapy session.
Why is he looking at me?
No,
So
I'm
this
here.
is an intervention.
I know, right? It's like How I Met Your Mother all over again. That's right. So yeah, Sara, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, definitely.
Facebook brings people together.
Yes,
No,
it
that's
does.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Contrary to what people believe, it does bring people together.
It does.
Dude, that's where we get 99% of our guests from,
Yeah.
hands down. Thanks, Mark. Anyways, so this week, Gavin, you brought the Brews. So
We have a good assortment. I think
Yeah.
everybody... Well, no, you're drinking what? Bold Rock?
I'm a creature of habit.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Yeah, cheers, Bold Rock. Yeah, I think that's what Sara's drinking too. I did. Let's see. This is a Mexican style lager,
Nice.
and it's from R&D Brewing. Of course, they're out of Raleigh, so good. So good local drink.
Thanks,
That's
R&D.
Yeah, thank you R&D, and thank you Bold Rock. We appreciate it.
Definitely.
So, how's your week been, Ryan?
Oh, pretty good, man. Pretty good. So basically, we had some people in Charlotte because what I do, there's other people that do it too, and we like to network. So what's cool about it is we get to work side by side a lot, see how other people do it, see what we can learn from them. Hopefully, maybe teach them a thing or two. One of the guys that came into town and networked with us was named Ryan, so that was
That was a
pretty
little
exciting.
awkward. Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, that's about all. I never had that problem, so it's all right.
Right. What about you, Gavin?
It's been a pretty busy week. Work has been busy as usual. Fourth quarter definitely is kicking off. Getting the mortgage piece, getting the mortgage business up and running, which is hectic all in
Busy.
itself. Yeah, busy. But it's been good, but busy.
Yeah,
How about
man.
you, Sara? How's your week been?
Oh, that is a can of worms. I have a hole in my ceiling right now.
no.
Found out had a leak in my ceiling when the remnants of Etta or Eta, I don't remember how they were saying it. Yeah, and then I got a flat tire 2 days before that.
Oh, nice. Oh,
Yeah,
my.
so it's been quite the week.
Murphy's in full effect, huh?
Yeah, but I had a really fun weekend. Got to hang with some cool people.
That's
Then
good.
I had this on my schedule, so I think I, handled it pretty well. Got through it.
Okay.
Perks of being a therapist and focusing on stress management all the time.
Yeah.
So
You got it squared away.
yeah.
Okay. That's cool. So before we went live, Gavin, you and I were working on some ad rolls. I'm super excited about those, but since they're not live
Ab
just
rolls?
yet,
You trying to get better abs?
always,
Ab rolls?
always
Or ad rolls. Okay,
ad
got you.
rolls.
Okay, got you.
Yeah,
That's
same
ad
page.
rolls.
Me and you right here.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So super excited about Track CBD. We talk about this every week. But guys, in case you didn't know, Track CBD is offering an exclusive discount. This actually just started, I think, maybe last week. An exclusive discount for our listeners. Okay. It's 15% off. But if you want the discount, you have to use the discount code BNB15. That's Bravo November Bravo 15. I always forget to put it in the description of the video. But for those of you watching, you're the only ones who qualify for this discount. Okay, so it's based off of a limited supply that they have. It's offered on their website. Okay, so make sure to go to trekcbd.com. This stuff is phenomenal. I use their dog treats for my puppy Nugget. I use their gummies for myself and my fiance. And my mom even used their CBD oil to help with her pain management. So if you're curious, if you're confused, if you have pain, anxiety, or sleep problems, make sure right now, just stop what you're doing real quick. Go to trekcbd.com. And when you find what you're looking for, make sure to use the code BNB15 to get that exclusive 15% off.
Yeah. I mean, and just to kind of echo what you said, I mean, it's very, very unlike any other CBD shop in the area. If you come to the actual physical location, of course, you can check them out at trekcbd.com. But I know for me personally, it helps me out tremendously. The gummies do with the anxiety component because it's always stuff on your mind before you go to sleep. So it's just nice to have an actual alternative that actually is natural to actually take other than trying to take medication for something to ease the anxiety. So definitely check the guys out, trekcbd.com online. The location here in Wake Forest, Holly Springs, and out in the Midwest in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Definitely. Awesome.
So without further ado, let's get into it. Miss Sarah Wilder.
Well, if you ever wanted something even more natural than CBD, therapy can help that.
That's true. And that's what we're going to learn about today.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yes, absolutely.
So I know you told us a little bit very briefly at the beginning, like who you are and what you do, but one of my favorite questions is always like how people got started. So I'm curious, like what lit the fire and sent you down this path of therapy?
Yeah. So I'd say it really took hold. I had no idea what social work was until moving down to the South where I'm from. It's kind of a bubble, honestly. But in between getting my undergrad and my master's, I actually spent some time in prison, and I was a correctional officer, and I got to,
I get it.
You get it? Oh, that's how you know her. Oh, God.
Oh,
No, it took like
I
10
hate when this happens.
Oh,
Because as a therapist, my memory is really bad sometimes.
She said, I spent some time in prison. I've never thought to introduce it that way. Continue, please. I'm sorry.
So part of my therapy practice, I like to use humor and sarcasm in the healthy way.
Apparently.
But yeah, seeing a lot of, well, I can't say men and women. It was an all-male prison. And as a non-authoritative person, I'm not a very aggressive person. So it was a definite role change for me. And I just saw the need for, another approach to mental health, because there's so much. I mean, yes, it's a legal charge and people make poor choices, but I also am a believer that people are a product of their environment, and there was just so much that could have been prevented to get people to that point. That's what's kind of sent me more into the substance abuse arena, as well as, I mean, there's so much to do in social work, but I've always kind of had this like independence about like, I just kind of want to do it my way. So I didn't really want to work for anyone else and work for the politics of an agency, and just really kind of find what works for each individual my own way.
Yeah. I mean, it's very interesting what you just mentioned in terms of the prison system. It's funny because, I mean, I actually went to school for criminal justice, and it's just funny like how that pendulum swung from rehabilitation to, punishment and corrections kind of. They're, instead of trying to rehabilitate the actual person, they're more focused on, since the prisons are primarily private, on keeping the prisons full. So
absolutely. You don't even open that. If you want me to stay in a nutshell, that is.
We'll just keep that in that nutshell.
Yeah.
We'll kind of keep that in that nutshell.
But yeah.
So, within that, so you're going down this path of switching directions and really trying to help people and get them on board to a healthy lifestyle. What are some of the challenges that you're currently facing with being a therapist? I
think right now people's stress levels are so high that the idea of taking on something else like change is a huge barrier. I know that's really vague in a lot of ways, but it's a lot of work, but it's needed, and it doesn't have to be all one big change. But COVID really brought a lot to the surface for a lot of people, and in a lot of ways that's a good thing, but in a lot of ways that's not helpful. Right. So I think that's probably been is just getting people out of that like survival mode right now. And I'm, thriving is a thing. I've not always been in thrive mode. I had to do my own work, but it can happen. And I like to be able to be a part of and ask to join the process of people's, direction change to thriving.
That is awesome. That quote is actually on my mirror. We were made to thrive. We were made to thrive, not just survive.
I swear I'm not. Yeah. I don't know who you are. Didn't know that about you. That's kind of weird.
I just thought it was weird. I was like, oh my God. That's
I feel like I need to check what time it is. It's like they're like a universal thing right now.
Dude, she's a therapist / mind reader.
Yeah. I mean, it's a kind of a skill.
Yeah, it's kind of a skill. Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah. So if you had to guess, because I know you probably have a lot of clients that come to you for the first time, like what are some of the preconceived notions that they have about therapy?
Well, the first one right off the top of my head is that something's wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with you if you go to therapy. I definitely need therapy. But there's probably something a little wrong with me sometimes. But kind of, it is a field that is dominated by diagnoses and codes and terms, and I really try to stay away from those with my clients because I don't think that everyone fully fits the mold of what those things are. However, it's a system that helps us as clinicians make sense of things. But I think that stigma against, the word bipolar, or my clients know the C word, crazy, is like, our language is so powerful. And the more that we talk about it in a healthy, open way, the more people will be able to approach, their issues, their stress. Like we talk about stress all the time, like, oh, I'm just stressed. There's nothing wrong with you if you're stressed, but why not, try to help alleviate some of that instead of living in it and struggling through it. So I think, or I'm pretty sure that the stigma and that thinking that there's something wrong or bad if you go to therapy for some reason.
Yeah, I would imagine, especially for like guys, like it's a tough thing.
I
remember like, when I finally bit the bullet and decided I was gonna start doing therapy, like, like I had to overcome that mental hurdle of saying like, I'm a guy, I'm tough, I'm macho, and actually seek out a professional.
It
was right after I met you, Ryan, but that has nothing to do with anything.
Nothing to do with it. So of course, just like he said, that definitely applies to military and veterans, and I feel that most of them don't choose to do anything about it until after they're out, because while they're in,
I'll talk about stigma.
Yeah,
that whole
true.
world is. There's literal job consequences for having a problem going on in your life. You can be demoted, and that's another can of worms. Don't open up, because my brother is active duty, so military it's one of those areas that I would love to dive into, and working for like the VA is kind of like, it's the stable place in my field. But it's still too personal right now, because I know it would be like, family, my whole family's military, but that is an area of so much is needed. A lot of resources are needed to be thrown that way too.
Yeah. And it just seems to me like, you being a veteran, Ron, and just hearing like some of the stories, it seems like if anybody could definitely benefit from it, it would seem like it would be a lot of veterans.
Yeah. I think it's super important. It's just like you just said, the active duty aspect. Once we're out, like I talked to a bunch of guys now, they're old and either retired or on their way to retirement, and they get it, and we seek it out. But the people who are active duty have that stigma attached to it. But I'm definitely curious, because I don't know if you work with veterans at all, but I know you mentioned beforehand that you deal with somewhat of a wide range. So what are some things that you focus on, Sara, and what do you do to help people in different scenarios?
So right now, the setting I'm in, my office when I was there, is based out of Durham. I'm an independent contractor, so I partner with a small practice, and we, that area, I don't have a very it's Durham. It's diverse, but it's not like the most diverse. And I have, people of different backgrounds trickle in. So main specialty, I prefer working with addictive behavioral patterns. So that's kind of I'm the only person in my office who does that. So if anyone who has alcohol or marijuana, codependency issues, I kind of have the same process for most people, but I'd say I love working with men specifically, just as a therapist in general, because I think that is you guys were kind of set up for failure when it comes to dealing with women is just one aspect. But emotions in general, we all have these things and we all have to understand them. And men have not really been given the space and or education really about how to make sense of that. So I tried to grab any one of those referrals that comes through just because I like to see the process. It's engaging for me because it's I'm actually teaching something. And then since I've been taking more a turn towards food addiction because of my own journey, I've really started to like working with young adolescent girls. I know that's kind of I would say a pretty common answer for a female therapist, but young girls' self-esteem is such a fragile thing. It's fragile in general, but those I'm starting to appreciate getting that a little earlier versus trying to help someone who's in the thralls of addiction, especially on a substance addiction, just because you have to have some time to get into a sober place of mind. And I don't ask anyone to be abstinent from everything. That's your choice, but I will say it will make it a lot harder to change if you don't give up something in order to change. So does that make sense?
That definitely does. That definitely does. That's a lot to it. It's a lot to really unpack there. Just with that, and you kind of mentioned before, I guess pre-pandemic, you actually went into the office. How has COVID kind of changed things as far as how you interact with clients? And have you seen an uptick with the amount of clients that are actually coming through? What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I think right now, COVID, like I said earlier, it's brought out a lot of good things. And I say that with, some respect to, I don't like people being affected by this. And it's not really for a business standpoint, but I actually feel like it's an opportunity for people to consider the severity of mental health. I think this whole year is important to look at. But directly what it's changed for me is I have never liked working in my home. I was that person who was sitting at Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts doing my documentation because I can't focus at home. And I had to learn how to do that real quick come March 23rd of 2020. So I went completely virtual, and I think I resisted it more than my clients because I like human engagement, even if it's at 6 feet of a distance. But it's been a fairly easy transition. My back has been an issue because I'm sitting a lot more, but it's
time to consult a chiropractor.
Good thing she's my best friend.
Oh, there you go.
But I think a lot of people have really benefited from having the experience right at your hands. But I also think it's a challenge for people to still kind of get over that stigma of now it's right in my face. So a lot of times as humans, if the solution's right in front of us, for some reason, we don't ever want to take it.
Yeah. Kind of hard to see the picture when you're in the frame.
Yeah. Ooh. That's why he's got quotes on his mirror.
Yeah. Ryan taught me that one.
Just full of them. So I'm definitely interested because I know you said, so you moved to a little bit more of a virtual setting. How was that? How was that for you? How was that for the clients?
That was I don't want to say it's the worst week. I've had worse, but it was such a quick turnaround. But I don't think I'd do it any different. we had been talking, I think telehealth and teletherapy had been already on the rise. And for a lot of clinicians, it was, just historically, their profession is human engagement. We still prefer that. I think I can speak for a lot of clinicians when we say face-to-face is ideal. When we're posed with a pandemic, we have to adapt. But sometimes when we're forced to change, that's the best time. Is like there's no other, like we had no other option. We either don't see clients, my bills don't get paid, I don't get to do what I have a passion for,
People don't get helped.
We contact Google Suites and get it set up and have a couple of long nights and a lot of stress related venting talks with your colleagues and make it happen.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So with that, what's the big picture, or like where do you see everything evolving to with your business now?
Yeah. So kind of to give a little supplemental side too. So I have my practice, but then I'm also building this coaching, right? I kind of want to branch out and bring it a little bit more engaging, because I think working under an insurance company or a criteria is a little constricting sometimes. So I'm moving into the coaching and getting a little bit more hands-on with my approach. So long term, honestly, this is going to potentially sound a little corny, but I had a moment where I could really, you ever have a goal and it's something that you really are passionate about at first, but then you kind of lose steam on a little bit and you're like, okay, well, maybe it wasn't the right time. And then you kind of come back to it kind of forms a little bit differently, but it still doesn't follow through. Well, I've had this idea of like being on my own. And this is the first time I've actually felt really connected with like, yeah, this is going to be something. And that is me being out there coaching emotional wellness, addiction coaching, recovery, and then bringing that to, for some reason, it's Good Morning America in my vision. I don't know. Like I kind of just want to be there and represent mental health and wellness for people to see that it's possible. It's not easy, but it's doable and you don't have to do it alone.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a very good point. I mean, it's one of those things that we kind of overlook within the journey of being successful is the mindset and the mental health component. I mean, that's just, personally, I think that's like, I don't know, 50% of the battle. I mean, the other 50% has already been written, but it's just getting
That mindset is tough.
Yeah, it is.
This
very
thing
tough.
that you can't see, aka your brain, and I just realized I was talking and not people can't see me when I'm pointing, we are not equipped to see what's going on there. And then we're responsible for everything it does and how to change it. It's not easy.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. I mean, because I think that in the past like 5 or 6 years, it seems like I've been seeing a lot on performance coaching and just like a professional coaching. And, seeing the common thread seems to be just removing those roadblocks that we don't see are there and actually open us up for our full potential. So,
And it's hard to do by yourself.
It's very hard because you can't see it when it's you. Yeah.
Nope.
It's just like if Ron had something in his beard, he'd never know unless I told him.
That's
Did you have Mexican today?
true.
I think I see it. Is that a little cilantro?
A little bit of enchilada in your beard. Is that
That's so true though, because I think it was Henry Ford that talked about like basically a good leader when things are going well looking through the window and when things aren't going well looking in the mirror. And so
You guys on your quote game today.
I think it's I think it's really just understanding that dynamic. It's super important because I mean, I was talking to Charles about this while we were setting up. It's like that self-awareness, that humbleness, to be able to just step back and take on certain realizations. Like I tell people I've had 15 years of leadership experience in management and sales because 10 years was the Army, and that's interpersonal communication skills. So that statement is true, but nobody cares. So I have to be aware of that. I have to be able to take a step back, sit down and say, okay, what can I learn from who? Because at the end of the day, it's like a selfishly unselfish, So if there's something I can learn or improve on, I have to be able to either receive feedback and be willing to accept that feedback or be self-aware.
Yep.
And so, I mean,
So you're going to be uncomfortable regardless.
yeah, right.
Because it is not easy to do either one of those.
I'm a huge supporter of like what you do and people who do what you do, because I think it's important, especially for veterans.
Absolutely.
I've got probably 3 different people I talk to. Not all of them are VA, but they were referred by the VA in a counseling aspect for different reasons.
Good. That is so important. And I'm just curious though, like your fellow, other soldiers that you served with, how connected are you still with them?
Yeah. So, I don't know. That's an interesting question. It's funny because we were actually out, one night just hanging out with my full-time job, and I don't know if one of them texted me or I texted them or something, and I heard back, and then I just stepped to the side and started calling them. I was like, hey man, what are you doing? So we could not hear from each other for 5 years, and then just be like, hey, what's up, how's it going, whatever. And so it works really well, our relationships and how we talk, but at the same time, like, if you're asking if I know the ins and outs of each person's life, not necessarily.
Sometimes
but I
the details
I do,
aren't important.
Well, not so much, but I think if I were to make a recommendation to any of them, I think it would have to come across more general. Like, hey, therapy isn't what you think it was.
Yeah.
But the guys that are out are a lot more receptive to it than those
And
that are
I mean that social network right there though can be such a strength for not only getting a person that you care about or someone that they've saved your life, you saved their lives, or you just saved lives together, but to just normalize that, whether the ins and outs of their life or not, is just speaking. I don't want to say it's vague, but it is, I guess, general enough that it's like you can take your perspective, which is why I chose the word, well, it's not like my word, it's kind of like a standard word, but you take your perspective of how you see the world and find that ability or that shared relation to an experience. And it doesn't have to be about the other person. It can be your experience, but they will find their own bridge to it and then be able to take that and go into their network. Yep. So for veterans, I think that camaraderie it's hard to get to that point, because I think since there's a lot of trauma in the military, that it kind of becomes the barrier, because you get locked in your own stuff. But if you take advantage of it, it can get easier and easier and easier to use your network as not the therapy, but a therapy to better health.
Definitely.
Good point. Well, if you ready to transition into our favorite part?
I want to see first, because now is normally when we would take questions. I know last week we got caught off guard, but before we get into it, if you guys have questions, we do have Charles now as a producer. So make sure wherever you're watching, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook Live, Twitter, we're on Periscope. So just be sure to submit your questions, comments, or in the live chat, and Charles can throw them our way. Charles, do we have questions tonight?
You have 2 from Twitter.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Do we have professional sounding usernames?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was
The screening process is I'm like, okay.
Last week I was like, I really want to shout out their usernames because I think that's important. And he was like,
let's
I don't know if it was appropriate. So
maybe not.
It was good to have the question, but
just say that guy or
go ahead.
That person. Yeah, so this one's from Darkling65.
Okay.
Yeah. His question is how long does a person usually last in therapy?
Okay, so
that's
any therapist, well, not any, it's a therapist inside joke that the answers to most of our questions are it depends. So it's going to depend on, whether or not you have actually identified problems that you're coming with, or if there is, just feeling the need to be there. From my experience, I've had clients, I would say that could transition either to really just an as needed check-in after maybe 8 months. I think they teach us in school it's about 6 to 8 sessions, which I don't think is very realistic, but we do need structure to work by. But I have clients who really like the commitment to just, life goes on outside of just solving one problem in life. So having a check-in once a month, bi-weekly, I've had clients up to 3.5 years now, I think.
Wow.
Nice.
And I've been at my private practice for 3.5 years.
Okay.
So
That's good.
Yeah, that kind of helps answer the second question. So the second question is from Alexit, and she wants to know how long it took you to get your practice.
Well, so I graduated with my master's in 2014. And I jumped around in different agencies because I have 2 different professional licenses. So I had to get through the provisional stage, and I took the jump into the private practice arena back in 2017 full time, I think. Yeah, so I'm still building. I don't think my field, let alone life, you just stop growing. So you can try to resist it all you want, but then that's why usually people end up on my couch. And I do have a couch in my office, but it is not, you can lay on it if you want, but usually you sit on it.
Yeah.
And we will likely talk about your mother. Yes. So, but yeah, so the journey is it's ever growing. So it's continued at this point.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, I just want to give a shout out to DarkLink65 and Alexit for the questions.
Yes.
Thank you.
So really, really good questions. I appreciate that. Once again, if you do have questions during our live, then you can submit them. If they come in late, we address questions now. If they come in late, you're just going to have to tune into the After Brews, which comes out on Wednesdays. Okay. So there are obviously 2 different segments to the show, and the After Brews is not live. So if you want to hear us dive deeper into stuff like that, talk about Sara, how she kind of came up with the idea and got into the business.
A lot.
Yeah, it's a lot more relaxed. Ryan goes down 1 button on the collared shirt.
Yeah.
A little bit more relaxed.
Maybe 2.
Maybe 2? Okay, perfect.
Maybe 2.
Yeah. You must really like Sara. Usually only go down 1 button.
Yeah, it's just
it's the therapist thing. I have it's like a written sign on my head that I can't see, but other people can. It's just like, help me understand your life, right?
Yeah.
And then it's just,
It's
because I feel more comfortable counting to 2 with her than I do.
maybe
Most
we'll
of the
let
time I
Sara-
can only get to 1. So,
yeah, maybe we'll let Sara sit there and you lay on the couch.
but you're gonna have to watch the After Brew. So you're just gonna have to watch.
That's
the
also like a
Afterbrews.
confidential conversation.
Yeah.
So unless
Well.
you want to, and then sign a disclaimer for me
That's right.
There
to
you
put
go.
that on live, I'm gonna leave that up to you.
That sounds super exciting.
That's right. That's
Gonna
right.
have to watch the After Brew.
Yeah, it's-
Just gonna have to
Find out.
watch.
Yeah, you have to watch
It
find
might
out.
happen. It might not. We don't know.
We don't know. Yeah,
We don't know.
We'll find out.
So I'm ready if you're ready, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So next section of the show is the questions we have brewing. I guess I'll start off. If you could have a beer with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna need a minute to explain just a second, but I would like to have one with Donald Trump.
Okay.
And I know I wouldn't get anywhere at first because he doesn't think he has a problem. But I want to be his counselor really bad. I need to know things about, and just to make sense of like why. Actually, I didn't need as much time to explain that. I think
That was
I
pretty
think we're in a good
straight to
space
the
there.
point.
That's pretty straight to the point.
Yeah.
I just need to
It
understand.
makes sense.
Huh, it does. Huh? I dig it.
I guess. Do you?
I dig it.
I guess that would make sense if it was like if we were interviewing a golfer.
Mhm.
Maybe they wouldn't want to go golfing for him for a very similar reason.
Yeah.
I just want to know.
Yeah.
Just want to know. So, okay. So, Sara, when you're not doing your counseling and at
Saving
work.
the world and making it a better place.
Yeah,
What do you like to
Definitely.
do for fun?
For fun, oh god,
the F word.
the F word. No, I've had to actually work very intentionally on that because my fun is helping people, and considering that is some of my job, but it is my passion. I don't necessarily need to do it all the time. I think right now my fun is definitely getting to know my friends a lot better, and then cooking. I've actually, since I had to do my own work, right, is essentially been practicing what I preach, and 100 pounds have come off with that process. So
Congratulations.
thank you. And so that has actually, I mean, it's forced me to put myself more hands-on in the process of what goes into my body and learning how to have a healthier relationship with food. So food has really been my fun.
Yeah.
Right. I eat what I want, no guilt, no shame, and I live the life that I love.
Food
That's
is
awesome.
fun.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Yeah, food is fun. I mean, I think everybody likes food, right? I think come wrong with that. So, what content are you currently consuming? That could be podcasts, YouTube channels, books. What content are you currently consuming?
So it's honestly a little bit of everything. I have a little bit of a vice for social media right now. Since I'm trying to kind of put more energy towards building up a media presence. But so really, I just kind of flood my timeline with the things that I need to be interested in to kind of learn from it. So it's a little bit of social media. It's a little bit of YouTube. It's a little bit of Audibles is my friend because my attention span right now is crap because I've got so many things going on. So listening to books has been, if you really want a good one, You Can't Touch My Hair by Phoebe Robinson. If you're looking for something like racial justice, social justice related, and it's funny.
You Can't Touch My Hair.
Yes.
Yeah, and being married to a Black woman and you're about to be married to one, that's a pretty sensitive topic.
Yeah. See?
I feel like that just applies to women because my mom growing up was like, "Don't touch my hair, don't touch the girl's hair."
Yeah. Anyway,
But
that's interesting.
I'll definitely check it
into
out.
that, yeah.
I'm always excited for a new
I can
book
send
recommendation.
you, if you have Audibles, I can send it to you for free.
Okay, I don't know how that works, but I do, and I'm down.
Okay,
Sounds like the price is right.
Just need your email address.
Darn free.
Price
All
is
right, Sarah. Now for the most important question.
Okay.
Where can people find you?
Right here, right now. So social media, I have a lot of stuff going on, but my Perspective Counseling PLLC is trying to focus on mental health advocacy and awareness. For coaching, right_perspective, and perspectivecounseling@gmail.com
Nice.
is, you Google Perspective Counseling. I think at some point my picture will pop up because it needs to, because I'm going to be investing in marketing. But I think I really want to bring this to people and help make sense of mental health and emotional wellness for people.
Nice.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you guys
Thank you
for
so
having
much for the important work that you do. It definitely is important to a lot of people, and it's something that if you're not taking advantage of, you definitely should look into.
Yeah. If you have questions and aren't ready for the commitment, you just send me an email. I like to help people get to the right place, if that's something people are interested in.
Yeah.
Definitely. I know Nick will be reaching out to you because he likes to network.
Okay.
But if you guys, whether you want to get into the mental wellness space, or maybe you need some help in that aspect, I encourage you, reach out to us. We have a direct line to Sarah, or reach out directly to her. Her website is in the description of the video, so you can go direct to Sarah. You can cut out the middleman right there, but totally, no matter what your questions are, if we receive them, we'll be sure to help you out. She receives them, she's definitely willing to help you out. So now we're about to jump into the after brews. So I want to invite you guys, if you're watching this show, make sure on Wednesday you come back. The podcast comes out at 6 a.m. The video version on Facebook and YouTube comes out at 11 a.m. We're going to dive deeper. We're going to get into some more questions with Sarah, her and her business. So if you're interested in that, make sure to check back. But I think that's about it for the business and brews.
That's it. Yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We definitely appreciate it. Ryan, thank you for being the awesome host that you are. Chuck, thank you for being the awesome producer that you are. And we will see you guys next